What up, wise guys? It's your wise girl Alicia, and today we're talking about masculinity. What makes a man a man? What separates the men from the boys? What is masculinity? Is it this?
I am a manly man who lives a manly life.
Well, kind of. Masculinity is the characteristics we associate with being a man. No, not that, not really. How does a person become a force like a great typhoon? Anyway, masculinity is just the characteristics that we associate with men or male-identifying people. We tend to think that those characteristics are definitions. They are what it means to be manly. But really, they're just stereotypes. Because the factors that go into defining masculine and feminine are so many things, like your location in the world, your surrounding culture, religion, friends, and family. And you can't forget about the media, social media, the news, advertisements, movies, TV shows, music, everything. And just so that we're all on the same page, a stereotype is the belief that all people from one group act or think the same. For example, if someone said, all teenagers party, is that true? Do all teenagers party? No, of course not. Some might, but some might just like to hang out with their friends or play video games or spend all night going down a YouTube rabbit hole and now you're watching Vines from like 2013 again. That might be me, never mind. So the statement, all teenagers party, is really just a stereotype about teenagers. That statement leaves no room for individual thought, expression, interests, hobbies, goals, ambitions, nothing. But that's what a stereotype is. It's believing that all people that are part of one group are the same. And just like there are high school stereotypes and teenager stereotypes, there's also stereotypes that we have about men and male-identifying people. These are the beliefs that all men act the same, or all men should act the same. But just like it wasn't true for all teenagers, it's not true for all people who identify as male. And I bet you've heard a lot of these stereotypes in your life. You may just have never noticed that they're stereotypes. Blue is a boy color. Boys will be boys. Men aren't emotional. Or man up. Or what about the pictures from before? Do you think you could tell me what photos were manly, what photos were not manly? That's what we would do if we had class. Because classifying things into what's manly and what's not, that's just acting on the stereotypes that we've been taught. Because it's assuming that all men and male-identifying people behave in a certain way. It doesn't allow for individuals to be themselves. And then what happens if men and male-identifying people don't show up in the world in a masculine way? What happens if a guy backs down from a fight? Or what if he likes to garden? Or what if he cries in the movies because it's Endgame and Cap just showed up and said Avengers Assemble and you know what's going to happen to Iron Man, but like you just need a minute because it's going to get really emotional and I'm sorry. Anyway, what happens to those people who don't show up in stereotypically masculine ways? The short answer is they get discriminated against. You've heard the term discrimination before because it has immediate negative impacts on those who are being discriminated against. Discrimination means showing unjust treatment towards groups of people. So you can kind of think about it like this. Stereotypes are the beliefs that all people from a certain group behave or think the same. Discrimination is the action taken against those groups of people because of those stereotypical beliefs. Neither one of these things account for individuality, and they both have negative impacts on people. So, what do we do about it? We've been taught these things from birth, basically. We've been conditioned to see them as normal. Even me. I used to have a really hard time watching men cry in movies. No, I'm serious. It used to really upset me. But then I stopped to think about it. Wait, isn't it really important to cry? Isn't it really healthy to cry? If you have to cry, you have to cry. You gotta let that out. It's not healthy to keep it bottled up inside. And it took me a really long time to get comfortable with it. But now I can watch movies with men crying and it just makes me love the scene and they're acting so much more. So you can also think about it this way. Think about all of the masculine stereotypes like a box. This box keeps men and male-identifying people trapped in the ways that they're allowed to express themselves. They're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be tough. You're allowed to provide for your family. You're allowed to be happy. But that's it. And if someone cries at movies, or likes to dance, or maybe works with children, they are kicked outside of that box. And they're discriminated against because they don't fit in that box. So really, what we should do to fix it is break the box. We can acknowledge and celebrate that men and male identifying people express themselves however they see fit. That masculinity is not limited to that box. Masculinity can be so many different beautiful things. And the way we break that box is by noticing when we're perpetuating those stereotypes. We notice what we're doing, and then we can actively unpack it, like what I did with men crying in movies. And so, before we go, what is a masculine stereotype you've heard of before? And what is one way you can work to change your mind? Please leave a comment in the section down below.